This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tank at Polish Phenom. The O's are zeros.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. So Tank, thank you for joining me on The Obsessive Viewer. To clarify, my co-host Mike and Tiny, they had other, they were preoccupied today. They were sick and tired, and not of me, but they were just, ill. And
let's be honest, they're in a hot tub somewhere getting,
they are
away from the cold. I join them if I could, but.
Yeah. So for some background, you are the co-host of the Title Pending Movie Podcast, a podcast that I've referenced several times on our show. And you also write and record for Underscoop Fire.
Well, I haven't written much in a while, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those New Year's resolution type of things. But yes, we do the podcast over at Underscoop Fire as well. It's basically, when it first started out, we were doing a lot of pop culture, nostalgia stuff, but now we still do that, but it's basically just 3 to 4 guys that have known each other for so long, and we could just, not see each other for months, but then get back on the podcast, and it's like, we saw each other yesterday.
That's cool.
So yeah, we just, gab like schoolgirls. What? I don't know.
Nice.
But, yeah. So that, and then the Title Pending Movie Podcast.
Nice.
With Tank and Fogs, and we sporadically do episodes about the newest releases, depending on what we've seen. We have busier schedules now,
right?
But we try and have a little fun with the old Hollywood business there. But
nice. Well, it's great. I'm a huge fan. And,
well, thank you.
Yeah, and preemptive congratulations, I guess, for your soon-to-be 100th episode.
Yes, right around the corner.
Yeah, so that's a big one. I can't, we're on, episode 39, I think, of ours. And it's kind of how the hell did we get this far? So I can't even imagine almost 100 episodes. Are you guys planning anything special or anything like that?
It all depends on, our time, with Fogs' job, and basically mainly Fogs' job, but it's harder to get to every single release now. And to be honest with you, a lot of the releases are kind of garbagey. Right. That's a new word. So we kind of pick or choose, but we got some stuff in the pipeline. That's
good. That's awesome. I'm like I told you yesterday, I was planning on watching About Time, but I can respect the whole time constraints of you guys having a lot going on, because I haven't been able to watch hardly anything the last couple of weeks, because I launched a kind of a sister site or a spin-off site, I guess, of ObsessiveViewer.com. It's just the blog I write for sometimes. But I created it, and I write for it as much as I can, but it's kind of hectic because my schedule and all that stuff. So I launched a sister site with some friends, and it's all for book reviews. It's obsessivebooknerd.com. And it's between that, the podcast, blogging, and actually reading stuff for the book site and trying to watch stuff for this, it's kind of it's eating up all my time. So
right.
It's kind of hectic, but I love it. It's a labor of love. And, yeah. So, and then thank you for coming on again.
Yeah.
So, let's get started, I guess. I kind of wanted to just have a general talk, I guess, about TV, because I listen to TPMP and I love it, and I noticed on Twitter that you watch a lot of TV, and I figured why don't we have him on to talk about TV, because this is
I do unfortunately watch a lot, or maybe not unfortunately, but
well, the way TV is today, it's kind of the art form has grown so much. So I think you can go, fortunately.
Okay.
That.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's amazing how in some ways, TV is better than movies these days. Just
it is
the quality. I mean, when you're pulling people like Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey from movies to do an anthology series for HBO, you know you're doing something right.
And that show's incredible. True Detective. I'm 2 episodes behind, but
oh my God,
I know.
I'm 1 episode behind, but the next one you're gonna watch, there's this. I don't know if you've read about it, but there's this tracking shot that just will blow your mind. Yeah.
I've heard about that. Tiny, my co-host, one of my co-hosts, he was raving about that, and I was like, I'll watch it as soon as I can. But, yeah, I can't wait. Especially the way the 3rd episode ended. That show has some incredible, like, monologues, and it's haunting, just the way that it even incorporates some horror elements to it. That it's just incredibly impressive.
Well, it looks like McConaughey might be setting up for the EGOT.
Yes, yes. Oh man,
not sure what Broadway play he would do, but
that's the question.
Or Grammy actually.
But
maybe he can.
Yeah, but the thing is, I believe it. I believe that he could go for that.
Do is a story about his life. Call it like all right.
Exactly.
The story of Matthew McConaughey. Maybe.
Yes. I love it. Tickets sold. What do you think of, I know I said TV, but I mean, we move over to this a little bit, but how do you feel about his career, man? It's insane the way that he's kind of had this big resurgence.
I've always been a big fan of his. So, it's cool that he can go from the romantic comedies to something more powerful like Dallas Buyers Club or Mud. Mm-hmm. Or, what was that one? Killer Joe's. Intense. So,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I guess maybe he was just setting that up and just do the studio flicks, and now he's made enough money where he can pick or choose the quality projects.
Oh yeah. That's great. It's smart. I would love to hear him talk about just the trajectory, wow, of his, of his career. Cause it's fascinating to me to see actors kind of make turns in their careers and kind of, I mean, like, even like Robert Downey Jr., he,
oh my God, yeah.
It's insane. He
in all intensive purposes should be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's,
so, ever since, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he's just,
oh, that movie's so great.
Yeah. I need to work that into my Christmas, movie watching.
Yeah.
It's very brief, but it's still pertinent.
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched it in such a long time.
Same here. I'm actually the guy that owns, the Robert Downey music CD.
Oh, really? Wow.
You know what? It's quality. It's
nice.
Big bangy kind of,
that's awesome.
I don't want to say Nat King Cole, but he's got a great voice and
that's cool.
He does a decent job.
Huh. Nice. So yeah, True Detective is fantastic. It's, I'm so excited I'm so happy that HBO got it. We talked about it on the podcast a few episodes ago, but I mean, I'm so happy that HBO got it because I know that it was a big, bidding war, I guess, with FX and some other, channels. And it's like, only HBO can do something like this.
I'm so glad HBO got it.
Yeah.
Pervy McPervington, but the Alexandria Daddario stuff. That
was very, very incredible. But yeah, I'm so excited and like you said, it's going to be an anthology series apparently, or that's the plan.
Right, so I'm not sure if those, like, I don't know if they're going to take the American Horror Story route where Woody and Matthew play different characters, or is it just going to be the tone of the show? I'm not quite sure, but color me intrigued.
Exactly. I would love it
as the kids say.
Yeah. I would love to see them do like a whole new cast, whole new case, whole new everything. And kind of just do different eras, I guess.
Ooh. How about like a De Niro Pacino 1950s
man.
crime thriller
Oh, that would be incredible. Oh man.
There's a podcast to put together your dream
Yes.
dream True Detective casting.
Yes. I love it. I'm on board. But yeah, it'll be cool to see what happens. Cause I know that the showrunner got an overall deal with HBO for like 2 years.
Nice.
And I assume by this point that it had to have been renewed, or they might be holding.
It has to. The buzz is too good.
Yeah. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that it's huge. Cause I mean, you have like shows that are like incredible that no one watches.
Right. And trust me. I mean, I'm a big Pushing Daisies guy. I know. That always breaks my heart that I never got true closure from that.
Right. I've never seen Pushing Daisies. It was from
Barry Sonnenfeld from Men in Black fame.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like
and Brian Fuller. I'm sorry, he's the main guy. He was doing Hannibal right now.
Oh yeah, I need to watch Hannibal. I had this whole idea that I would be like, okay, well, I'm going to read all the books, I'm going to watch the movies, and then I'm going to watch the show. I'm like, that's insane.
That's like a year's worth of...
It is. I have such a weird brain with this kind of thing. I need to go chronologically. I can never jump into a TV show midway through anything. I have to start at the very beginning. And that's why I don't get into comics, because I feel like I would just go insane.
I love comics, but that's never been something I've gotten into. I have sparing here and there, but it's just too many titles. I know I have friends with so many long boxes, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah, I've seen some friends' collection that it's insane. I used to collect them like as a kid. I would go to like this little shop whenever my mom went and bought groceries, and I'd like,
oh yeah,
I would go
the little spinning rack.
Yeah, and they'd have like little like drawers and stuff, and I'd go and I'd thumb through it, and I'd pick like one that I would get, and this accumulated over like 3 years, and I just had like a huge box just filled with them, and I'm like, I've read maybe a quarter of this. If that.
And if you're missing an issue, it's like, oh, but then there's like 15 different Batman titles, and they all, it's a money hog. And now that I'm an adult and I have my own source of money, it's like, okay, I can't get sucked into this. Right. For me, it's toys. So
that's nice.
And board games.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, for me right now, it's just DVDs and stuff. I just got the 3rd season of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray today.
Nice.
Or actually got it yesterday because I pre-ordered it from Amazon. And I was all excited about it. But then even then, like I just finished the 1st season, like rewatching the 1st season, and even like, and I feel like pressed for time because I need to rewatch the 2nd season and the 3rd season. I want to watch all the special features and all this stuff, while also dealing with Netflix and House of Cards and.
Yeah, I started House of Cards, got through 3 episodes, and this week I have a community quiz, a pub quiz all about the show Community.
Nice.
And I had to start cramming. I mean, I've seen all the seasons, but I know there's going to be something I miss, and I started just punching out season. I'm going backwards. It's weird. Awesome. I watched season 4, and now I'm on to season 3, and then I don't know if I'll be able to fit in 2 and 1, but hopefully my teammates can pick up the slack on that one.
Right. If you need anything, just like discreetly tweet me or something, and I'll be able to give you all the information.
I think they're staunch about the whole cell phone thing, especially in this day and age.
Yeah. I love Community. It's
nice.
I was a huge like supporter of it, like before it aired, because like at the time, I don't know if you watched it at the beginning or anything, but
I saw it when the Facebook was showing the premiere episode.
That's awesome. I got it on PSN when they had a promotional thing, like a week in advance. I was like, this show's awesome. But like months in advance, I saw HBO, or not HBO. Wow. NBC did their kind of upfronts and all that, and they had their trailers and everything. So I saw a trailer for the premiere, and like at the time I was taking some classes at a community college, and I was kind of dogging it a little bit, but I mean it was something to do, and I was kind of like I don't know what I really want to do with my life, and I'm just listless here, and I'm kind of,
right.
it was a disaster. And I was like, this seems like it could apply to me. And then I started watching it, and then I watched it transform into this just incredible, pop culture, I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Time capsule?
Time capsule, yeah. It's like, and it just infused all these things that I loved so much about, like I connect with Abed because he has this weird brain for all kinds of media that he consumes. And I'm like,
there's moments where I'll remember something from a movie and I'll stop myself and be like, I have no business remembering who played that role in a movie that came out 25 years ago. Why? Why do I remember that?
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. And I drive my friends crazy about it. It's like part of the mission statement of my website was, okay, this is just an outlet for all of my insanity that I bug my friends with. Yeah, it's one of those shows that, you know, it was a show about a community college and like, haha, funny, you know, Chevy Chase and Joel McHale. But then Dan Harmon slipped in, I'm going to have these homages to Westerns and action movies and David Fincher movie. And as a movie guy, it just spoke to me. So that's why it's easily right now, personally in my top 10 of all time. Me too.
Yeah.
Like before it started, I was a huge fan of Arrested Development, obviously. Like,
yes.
Anyone
still am. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the density of jokes in Arrested Development and the way that it all weaved together in such a way that was clearly planned, but it played out with an effortlessness that is just awe-inspiring, because you go back and you see all these connections and everything, and then Community kind of, it didn't overtake Arrested Development for me, but it basically found its place.
Filled the void for me, at least.
Exactly. That's exactly what it did. It kind of found its place near it for me, that I was like, this show is just, I can't believe it. And then like they started having these kind of, like in the second or third episode, they had like the heartfelt like Abed and his parents storyline, and I'm like, this is making me kind of like connect to the characters in such a way that I wasn't expecting to. And
it's getting a little dusty in the living room.
Exactly. Yes. And it was like, I was so happy, and I was so happy that it was so good. And then it had all these you can kind of tell the problems that it had. Like, it wasn't finding its audience that well. Then, the internet kind of ran with it, and it became kind of the internet's favorite show. So it survived for 5 seasons, and I don't know how much longer it's gonna last. But
you know what? I think at this point they gotta go 6 seasons in a movie.
Absolutely, they need to fulfill their prophecy.
I don't know what kind of, like, if it is a movie, I don't think it'll go theatrical. I think maybe they'll have like some 2-hour closure.
Yeah.
On a Saturday at 3 a.m. just because the ratings are still in the toilet. But I think it holds steady with the demographics, even up against stuff like American Idol or Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. That's the best thing about Big Bang Theory for me is the theme song.
Bare Naked Ladies. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. But the show is just...
I don't want to offend anybody that is fans. I have given it a chance. I watched 2 episodes back to back. I just didn't laugh, but God bless people that enjoy it. I mean, it's a huge phenomenon, and you know, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's like, honestly, I watched like 4 seasons of it just to have it playing in the background. And it was just, I mean, it reached a point where I was watching it and I was DVRing it and all that, and then I would watch it and it would just be the same thing over and over again. And I kind of make fun of my friends a little bit, or not make fun of them, but I kind of give like Tiny some crap about it, and I'm like, so is that episode, is this the episode where the guy still lives with his parents or still lives with his mom? 'Cause that's really hilarious that he still does that, and it's 5 seasons. And then it's like, oh, is this the episode where Raj can't talk to girls unless he's drunk? 'Cause comedy
that every
gold.
episode?
Yeah, it's just it's such a weird thing. And I mean, I mean, if you like the show, if it's for you, that's cool, but I mean, it's kind of just, it reaches a point where it's kind of derivative of itself.
It's a CBS comedy, and most CBS comedies have the same, setup, and again, not my thing, but I've never, right. I like stuff that other people think is dumb, so I'm never going to judge anybody.
Exactly. We actually just recorded a Guilty Pleasures episode, and that didn't come up or anything, but I mean, stuff came up it's like, you can't really make fun of someone for what they like, because that's crappy, but I mean, you can make fun of the art of what it is.
Right. You can
you can find loopholes to it.
Right.
So yeah, it's and I mean, I don't know, it's weird that CBS is such a successful network to me. I mean, they have like all these huge shows that are huge hits, and none of them I'm interested in.
I don't think I watched a single thing.
Yeah.
I did watch Crazy People, the Robin Williams show.
Oh yeah?
It's very funny, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, every episode's the same. I'm not really getting anything from this that I'm going to take with me into, daily life, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird scenario, but
okay.
I tapped out, but it was just also based on I have so much that I watch that I needed to make some cuts, and I felt that I could go without.
Yeah, I'm the same way with a lot of things. Although I should say, I do watch How I Met Your Mother religiously, and I think it's like one of the best sitcoms.
If of all the CBS shows, that's one I kind of wish I kept up with.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
nice. Are you gonna watch the How I Met Your Father?
I actually posted a blog about that when it was announced, and I was like, okay, this is my kind of apologist way of saying that it could be good.
Well, with the casting of, I think her name's Greta Gerwig. She's an excellent indie actress.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
That's a push.
Yeah, that's a big get.
My eyes.
Yeah, and I read kind of the character details, and it's kind of like, I don't know, some of it's like, maybe the way the article was written kind of skewed it, but it's like, meet your new gang. This show's Ted Mosby. This show's Marshall. And I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, they can't do that.
Yeah, it's
because then it's just going to be comparative. Like, well, he's not as funny as Birdie.
Right. And they kind of set it up that way. Like you have these archetypes that they have in the character descriptions that are clearly like it's like the girl is. This is the thing that I could connect to the most for it, is that the girl is this. She just got divorced, and she's finding out what she wants to do with her life. And I can connect with that as a storytelling element, because I'm 27 years old. I'm still looking for what I want to do with my life. So it's kind of that kind of thing. And I'm kind of looking forward to it for that. But then I see things like, so she moves in with her brother and his wife, and she has a best friend who's in love with her, and then she has another friend. Really? Yeah. And she has like another friend that's like a partier, and I'm like, okay, that's gonna be kind of like the Barney character. And so I don't know. I have full faith in the writers of How I Met Your Mother, because they've delivered such an incredible sitcom for me. I mean, I recommend going back and checking it out, because it's the storytelling. They have this unreliable narrator, and he makes it like, so it makes them jump in time a lot, and they have these really incredible, heartfelt moments where it's like, to borrow your phrasing, it gets a little dusty in my living room, but it's really heartfelt. They have these really great heartfelt moments, and it's really incredible. Maybe
they'll pull a Kaiser Soze. He's just been making up everything throughout the.
Yes, I have so many theories for that. Like I keep thinking, like, it would be it would be a big, like, screw you to the audience, but it would be hilarious if it turned out that, like, they were just, like, the kids were just volunteers at, like, this mental ward, and they were just appeasing this patient. And so that's why it's taken him like 10 years to tell the story, or 9 years. So yeah, so I'm kind of like, they can kind of do whatever they want. I'll still appreciate it, but they're rushing toward a finale that's going to be really incredible. They just had a really great episode a couple weeks ago that was just, oh man, it was incredible. It really tied together a lot of things, to be vague about it. But,
well, all the episodes I have peeped. I have enjoyed it. One of my favorites was the Karate Kid episode.
Oh, yes. Which, was it? There's been a couple instances where they reference the Karate Kid. So I can't remember exactly which one. I don't know which one you're referring to, but every time they did, like they had, oh wow, what is his name? Oh man. The guy who played the villain in it.
Oh, William Zabka.
Yeah, him.
Johnny.
They had him in the
right.
episode, and it was just, it's so great.
Because he is the true Karate Kid.
Exactly. I love that. I love how Barney kind of has this weird way of looking at movies. It's like it's like Die Hard. Hans Gruber, he was the hero. He's the only one wearing a suit. And the Terminator, he's the Terminator.
He's just doing his job.
Yeah, he's just doing his job. So it's a great show. And so you said you watched a few episodes of House of Cards. How are you liking that?
The first episode alone, it'll blow your mind. It's a huge spoiler. But it's interesting because you're not really supposed to root for Frank Underwood, but he's just such a son of a bitch that
he really is. It gets to a place where it's really incredible to watch, and it's reflective on, like, audiences are kind of clamoring for still.
Well, look at Breaking Bad. I mean, everybody, you shouldn't like him, but
right.
Damn it, Walter White's
he's
the man, so to speak.
I mean, he's Hal, so I mean, how can you not like him? But it's just so interesting to see how shows are clinging toward the anti-hero, that it's kind of, it's insane. It's really impressive how they can mold these storylines around these, for all intents and purposes, despicable characters.
Right.
And Frank Underwood he's one of those. It's incredible. I love that the first scene of the series is him killing a dog. I just think that that's just incredible because they have the whole like old screenwriting, trope or rule that's,
breaking the fourth wall kind of thing.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And then they also,
at first you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be hokey, but then you're like, oh my God, this is actually quite brilliant. It totally works.
Like, you go into it and you think, like, is he trying to be like Zach Morris?
Time out.
Exactly. And then you kind of realize it's more like a Shakespearean kind of thing, and it's so cool to see, like, the wheels spinning for his manipulation. And
nice. Great analogy.
Thank you.
That's poetic.
Yeah. It's,
well, there was one point somebody said something so stupid and they just cut to him looking at us like, really? And that sold it for me right there.
Oh yeah. I think in the second episode, he's talking to, it's so incredible the way that they mold these situations for him. It's like, cause they did the healthcare bill, and then, they had a draft of it, and then he leaked it, and then the writer of the draft kind of came up and was like, okay, well, you need to, like, he's manipulating him into telling him that Frank needs to handle the healthcare bill, cause the guy who wrote it actually, like, got it leaked, even though it was Frank that did it. And it's just, you can see the wheels spinning for Frank, and he kind of turns to the camera and he's like the guy's upset because he's like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this, I did this or whatever. And then he's like, he says something to the camera. He says, the only thing a martyr wants more than anything or something is a blade to fall on. And he's just like, and then he says something to him, and it's just like everything clicks, and he's like, you should do this, Bill. And he's like, I guess I can, or whatever. And it's it's so great. Like the writing is so incredible. And I'm excited for you to watch the rest of it, because it's even the first season is just incredible. And I'm 6 or 7 episodes into my rewatch of it, because I wanted to rewatch it before the new season, but I ran out of time, and I'm hearing all this stuff that's like, oh, the second season's incredible, and I'm like, all right, well, calm down. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm trying to get to it as fast as I can. But
right.
What do you think of Netflix in general? Like, because they're doing this whole original programming thing that's just like, it's honestly, it's the reason I started my blog, because I had like all these feelings about it built up, and I needed to just like kind of throw it onto the internet. So what do you think of Netflix's original programming?
With House of Cards, and it's not original, but Arrested Development, and I recently finished Orange is the New Black.
Oh yeah.
I just think the creators of these shows don't have to worry about the confines of the network TV, so they can just throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. And I think that's just opening up the creativity process with these guys, and it's working.
I absolutely agree. It's really incredible to watch. And like, I was geeking out so hard when House of Cards premiered, because I was just like, it's insane to me to see the runtime of episodes, because it's like one episode's like 57 minutes or something, and another episode's like 50 minutes, another episode is 48 minutes, and I'm just like I'm trying to think, like, how is it going to function as a TV series? Because, or how is the writing going to be different from a conventional TV series? Because they don't have to write to commercial breaks, they don't need to write to fill a time slot. It's just they're writing to write what they want, and that really, to me, it really shows through in the final product, because I mean, they don't waste any time, any amount of screen time. It's like, I feel like television has reached a point where it can be film-like, but it's still under the confines of these networks and these network rules and these network time slots and everything. And I feel like Netflix is kind of that next level kind of thing where it can be a film. It can be film-like without these kind of pressures from everything,
right,
in these confines. And it can be like its truest form, pretty much.
Right.
And I'm so happy that Netflix is finding success with it, because it was a gamble. They spent like millions and millions of dollars on House of Cards, because they bought it for 2 seasons, and then they just renewed it for a 3rd season.
Yeah, before the 2nd season even aired.
Yeah, it's like, and I love that it's such a hit, because I mean, it was a gamble, and you read stuff about how it's filmed, and because it had like a director tackles 2 episodes, and it's a very director-driven show, and it's just it's so cool to see them buck the trends with all these like buck the conventions and everything. It's really inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
As a TV,
even Hulu and Amazon.
Yeah,
it's just, there's going to be a point where even though Comcast just bought Time Warner, like you necessarily don't need cable. I mean, with internet,
right?
Just all these shows on there.
Yeah,
you could easily just play off of your computer or smart TV.
Absolutely, it's, and I feel like that terrifies cable companies to no end. And it's kind of cool to see them kind of shaking, because I hope that it would force them to rethink their structures. Like, I'm a huge detractor, I guess, of the Nielsen rating system. I think that it's such a mess, such an outdated thing. We have the technology that we can track these things more thoroughly, but advertisers are kind of running things with television on TV, right. And it's kind of this, they're held up to this the Nielsen ratings, and I'm like probably July or August, I got in the mail like a Nielsen thing from Nielsen saying, hey, we want you to be part of the survey. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was all like, this is the first time I've ever seen anything related to Nielsen in my entire life. Or I mean, like I've never known anyone that was a Nielsen family, and growing up in this small town in Indiana, it's like, it makes me feel like, okay, I can tell everybody that I know to watch this show, and it's still gonna fail, and it's still not going to get, it's not gonna make any difference whatsoever. So I always kind of felt that way about it, and then I got this Nielsen thing, and it's like, okay, well, we want you to make a diary and all that. So I'm like, filling out the diary and everything, and then I'm just realizing, like, this is, like, it's all based on the honor system. It's like, I can sit here and write down, okay, I watched all this stuff, and then never turn on my TV and never watch their precious advertising. And it's just like, I mean, it's so outdated. I mean, it's a physical notebook that they give you, a physical journal to write down stuff. And I mean, there's different levels to it that they can do this, they can track it, but it's also like, it's so unnecessary. I mean, just thinking about how they can analyze that data. I mean, they have to have people on the payroll that are just combing through these journals, and it's like, dude, Excel, get like a spreadsheet or something going, or get some kind of online thing. Like, I think that, like like Get Glue and social media and stuff like that, like, it's now TV tag, but
right.
I think that could be a great way to measure how it is. I mean, it's not as exact as statistics or as
right.
data like that, but I mean, I feel like it's indicative of what's popular.
Well, I'm glad some execs are using social media to whether to re-up a show. I mean, Community is a perfect example.
Oh yeah,
that show should not be on TV anymore. The fact that we've gotten this many seasons is amazing. So,
oh yeah,
I think the cult status and the championing that people bring to these shows shows.
Yeah,
shows.
I absolutely agree, and it's cool to live in this kind of time period where it's like you can sense like a shift in entertainment, at least small screen entertainment. Although you can't even say it's small screen anymore because everyone has a big screen TV. But it's just really incredible to see how it's grown, and it's kind of, I mean, like, even like today, it's like with Netflix, they've kind of made binge watching kind of this buzzword that everyone's talking, like, everyone's like, oh, I binge watched this show in a season, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like kind of an elitist or whatever, but I'm like, I was doing that for years. It's like, people made fun of me for watching an entire season in a day, and, you know, it's like, look at me now, Mom. But it's kind of this thing that's like, it's trendy now, and it's kind of, people are consuming these high quality shows at such a high rate that it's really cool to see how, I mean, shows are are being able to take chances and do these things that, I mean, like 10 years ago, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to, have an episode of a sitcom revolve around paintball and it'd be like this big action movie kind of thing. You couldn't do that it's probably the most popular episode of Community, and it's the episode that I give people to watch to really get into the show, because I mean, it's such a perfect episode.
That's a good call. I'm a big fan of the dice. They're at Abed and Troy's apartment, and they have to roll the dice to see who gets the pizza. The different timelines.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
It's just brilliant.
Oh yeah, I love it so much. And I love that it kind of keeps coming back into play, like later in the season,
right?
Seasons, but
callbacks.
Yes, that episode is just great. The Dungeons and Dragons episode is so awesome. So I just love that they can have these high concept episodes in the sitcom. That's. I mean, they even had like the bottle episode. It's amazing that they can play with this common television kind of standard of television to kind of make this, like, TV has this thing where they have bottle episodes where they create an episode specifically with the central cast without any guest stars in one central location to save time and money, and all that. And then Community takes that and flips it on its ear and makes it into a thing that it makes it its own thing. And that's the great thing about Community for me, is that it can make these things its own thing while also honoring the history of their medium, I guess.
Right.
Or poking fun at it.
Right.
What other shows are you into?
Oof. There's too many. Big fan of Sleepy Hollow from this first season.
Oh yeah?
Amazing.
Nice. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard good things.
They did the right thing where it was quality over quantity. They only did like 13, 14 episodes, and I feel like more genre shows at least, should do that, because I think that's where the fatigue sets in. Something like, as much as I've enjoyed Grimm, it's like 22 episodes, and it just gets to a point where it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
I mean,
jeez. They're doing this whole, networks seem to be pushing this. I know last summer they had, well, I'll get to that in a second, because I want to talk to you about Sleepy Hollow, I guess. But, I've heard good things, and I watched the trailer before it started, and I was like, this could be good, but it seems kind of, not hokey, but it seems like why make it present day?
It works.
Does it?
It
Nice.
took a couple, I always liked the show, but it did take a couple episodes to find its footing.
Okay.
And now they're doing this revisionist history type stuff where they're saying that
Nice.
Paul Revere wasn't necessarily letting us know about the British coming. He was letting us know about the coming of the apocalypse, and this stuff about George Washington was involved, and he hid this special device, and there's been these twists in the show that have just blown my son and myself away, where we're like, didn't see it coming. And for a show in this day and age with the internet and social media, to surprise you is attributed to the writers.
Nice. That's awesome. I'll have to check it out, because I'm a big fan of John Cho as a dramatic actor. I think he could be great. Cause I don't know if you watched the show Flash Forward.
Yeah, I did. Another one of those genre shows that probably could have benefited from a shorter,
it really could
schedule.
Like that. I kind of view Flash Forward as being like kind of a big misstep, because it could have been so great, and it was great for a few episodes.
Right.
Here and there. The pilot was fantastic.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and but then it kind of got bogged down with some of these a few kind of episodic kind of side stories and all this, and some of the character interactions weren't that great, but it could have been the next Lost, which I need to tell you up front right now, I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Lost. I'm
an apologist for the finale.
Nice.
It worked for me.
It was,
again, but that show could have benefited from maybe just 15 episode seasons.
There at the end, the last few seasons, they had these shortened seasons that were, it was when they started figuring out things, and they kind of had they had their end date set, and it's like, you can tell, like, it just ramps up. And there's like no more filler episodes, and it was fantastic. And I love that about it. And I mean, I love the show. And the finale is just, it's perfect for what the show was. And people,
there were some loose ends they could have tied, but for me, that, again, to compare what you're saying, was perfect and beautiful.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, I'd watch it, and even like today, if I were to go back and watch it, I mean, I would get just teary-eyed throughout the entire episode. Like, I mean, no spoilers or anything, but I mean,
well, it's been a while.
Yeah,
we're okay.
Yeah. So, like, even in the beginning of the finale, even before I knew anything about, like, as I was watching it the first time, and then now on subsequent reviewings of it, like, there's a part at the beginning where Hurley like meets Charlie. I think it's like he goes to him or something in the Flash Sideways or whatever, but you just see them, like, they see each other, and it's like, you just feel like all the emotions and everything. It's so great. And it's like, it was like they made like a present for the audience. Like, right. Cause like I'd spent like 6 years championing the show. That's a tough word, but, no, I'd been celebrating the show, and I'd been talking it up, and I was like, everyone's like, well, what's this small question from this one episode from 3 years ago? And I'm like, do you not see the character development? The character development's incredible. So it's kind of, you know, I love it for what it is, and I love that the finale paid tribute to the characters in such a unique way. But I don't know, we'll probably want to cut this short eventually because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But, there was a point. Oh, the shortened seasons. Network TV kind of seems to be adopting kind of this cable template.
Mentality, yeah.
Yeah, it's like last season they had, I'm also a huge Stephen King fan.
Under the Dome, right?
Yes. Did you watch it?
I did. I started to. It just got to the point where I was like, nothing really is happening, so I kind of tapped out on that one. But I heard it got better. It got better. I'm hoping that the second season is better. I did the foolish thing of reviewing every episode on the site, so I kind of feel like I am gonna need to do that for the second season and third season, or if there is a third season. But I thought it was kind of cool that they had this, like they called it a mini series, even though it's just, they meant it as in a mini season. Right.
And it was just like, people were all like, no, it's a mini series. I'm like, no, guys, it's not a mini series. It's a mini season. It's just a shortened season. But while watching it, I kind of felt like, before it aired, I was like, and as I was reading the book, I was like, this could really be the next Lost. This could really be the next Lost. And then I watched the show and I was like, this really isn't the next Lost. This really isn't the next Lost. But
I think we need to get to a point where we need to stop calling things that.
you know, I agree. And I'm against that usually, but it's like, also Lost was so important to me that I want to connect to a show like that. Like
Understood. Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment.
So it's kind of, I mean, you can't really judge shows against other shows like that, but in that circumstance, I was like, you know, Lost was incredible, and Under the Dome, because Lost, they took a lot of inspiration from Stephen King. And I was like, well, you know, Stephen King has a new show and it's gonna be from people that are involved. I think someone involved in Lost had something to do with it. But I was just like, maybe it'll be good. And then, I mean, it was okay.
Well, I'm hoping to be on a Stephen King kick, I'm hoping they stop thinking theatrical release and seriously consider doing it as a lengthy miniseries on FX, HBO, or anything, because I think that would benefit better from that.
Oh yeah,
than a movie.
That's where I kind of am with Stephen King, because I love his writing. His writing is some of the I love consuming it. It's
it's so iconic. It's such a part of my growing up, because that was like the key Christmas present for my old man, was getting the newest Stephen King book. So
that's awesome.
Though I haven't read as many of his books as I would like to, that is just such a part of my life.
Yeah, he's almost too prolific. He releases stuff so much. Like, he released 2 books last year. This year's releasing 2 books, and I'm talking about rereading The Dark Tower. I don't have time for all this new stuff.
I did pick up Dr. Sleep. I haven't had a chance to read it, because I from my friends that have read it, they said it's amazing, and the connective tissue to The Shining is just perfect.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that. But yeah, and I agree that he deserves to be adapted, because his storytelling is so unique. He has these characters that I call them like extraordinary, ordinary characters.
Nice.
Yeah, because they're thinking, and they're like,
that could be a good comic.
Yeah,
Series. The extraordinary thing.
Yeah. So he has this, exactly. So he has these incredible, like characters that he develops in such a great way and so organically, and they're so true to the interactions are so true to what like an actual person would do. And it sucks to see that be kind of confined to a 2-hour movie.
Right.
'Cause like take The Shining, for example. Kubrick did an incredible job, and he made one of the most near perfect movies, in my opinion. And it's one of the best horror movies of all time. But I mean, it's it's not really anything to do with the book,
right? And that's always been Stephen King's cross the bear.
Exactly.
He never really liked Kubrick's adaptation,
but they have and then they had the miniseries. Did you ever see the miniseries with
of course with what's Wings
Steven
McGee
Weber.
there?
Yeah, Steven Weber. He was.
Yes.
I thought it was fantastic.
It's 90s.
Yeah, it's 90s and it's kind of cheesy, but in terms of adapting the book, I thought it did a fantastic job.
Right.
Yeah. One final thing, and I'll let you go because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But did you ever see Room 237?
Is it the Cusack movie?
No, that's
no, I know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Reel it back, Chris. It's the documentary about all the conspiracy theories on The Shining. Yes.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, I'm not too big of a fan of that one.
Me neither.
That was a huge eye-rolling movie.
Yeah.
I get what they're doing, but it was just like, come on.
It was so... it's funny because I'm of the line of thinking where I'm like, okay, you can have these ridiculous theories, these ridiculous conspiracies and everything. That's fine. I'll eat that up if it's presented in a way that I like seeing. Cause I mean, I'll basically let it play with my mind a little bit. I'll entertain your thoughts. I'll entertain your theories and everything, but you gotta present it in a way that doesn't make you look like an idiot.
Batshit crazy.
Exactly. It's basically, I mean, it's all phone call interviews, so you don't see anyone that's talking about it. They have them all interconnected, so
that's because they're all sitting at home and naked, covered in peanut butter while they were making those phone calls.
Exactly. And they have they don't present them like this is theory 1, this is theory 2. This is like, okay, this guy's theory, and this guy's theory, and then this guy's theory, this over here, and this guy theory from the beginning. It's just it was so sloppy. And I mean, the second time that a kid interrupted it, I mean, like, I have nephews, I understand kids will interrupt things that you're doing, but it's a phone interview for a movie.
Right.
Don't put it in the final cut.
Yeah. Edit that out, please.
Yes. It's like, man, it's so weird. And I mean, the theories are just off the wall, and they're like they had one moment where it was like, there's a scene where Jack is in the room and the chair is up against the wall, and then in the next scene, it's in a different spot. Now, you could attribute this to just general continuity errors, but I think that this is this and this, and I'm like,
the moon landing.
Yeah.
He's telling us that he faked it.
Yeah.
Just stop.
It's funny. And like my go-to thing with that is when they talk about the moon landing, they're like, you see, when you see when you see the door open to room 237, you see the key ring, it says RO period, like ON somewhere or something. And it's like the only thing, I can't remember what it was, but it said something like, there were letters that it was like MORON, and it was basically like,
and that stands for Hitler.
Yeah.
Some languages.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. They had RO and then MON, and then they're like, the only thing that I can think of, that the only word that can possibly be jumbled together from those letters is moon. And I'm like,
MON spells moon.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. Nice. But then I'm sitting there thinking like, well, it also spells moron. So it's mind blowing to me that I don't know. It's a funny experiment, or it's a funny.
They were able to make a movie out of it.
Yeah, it's insane, but that's the world we live in, I guess. Well, I don't want to. I mean, we're almost at an hour, and I don't want to, take up all your time and all that. So thank you for chatting with me, man.
I had a blast. I love talking TV and movies and just anything pop culture. It's my It's my wheelhouse, so
Awesome.
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to have you on when I have my co-host and all that at some point, if you're willing to.
Please.
But, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for listening, guys. This has been the Obsessive Viewer, with our special guest Chris Tansky from the Title Pending Movie Podcast. And again, where can we find you on Twitter?
It's Polish Phenom, but the O's are actually zeros.
Perfect. All right, great. Well, thanks for chatting with me, man, and hope to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks to Tank from the Title Pending Movie Podcast for joining me for a talk about TV this week. And we went on a little bit of a tangent, but I had a blast. It was great actually getting to talk to him as a fan of his podcast, and having listened to a majority of the 97 episodes that they've released. I was really happy to get him on to talk. So thanks again. We hope to have him on again. Now, this segment is new, or it's interesting. I wanted to. I didn't feel comfortable releasing a full episode without Mike and Tiny, and we didn't get a chance to record a potpourri segment this week. In fact, I mean, like, we all had stuff going on, and like right now I'm like sick with flu-like symptoms. But I'm soldiering on so I can deliver you guys some Mike and Tiny action this week. So what I've done is I've dug into the Obsessive Viewer archives. These are audio files that I've kind of kept as I'm editing the episodes, and I call it our B-roll. Okay, so the first one is from our August 30th episode, from episode 13, Sitcoms 2, Pain and Gain, and Kick-Ass 2. This is a short clip that we went on a little bit of a tangent as we were kind of switching some things out and taking a break from recording the actual episode, where we went on a little bit of a tangent about Garden State, and this is a little minute or so long conversation about Garden State. So enjoy. But yeah, Garden State is just I'm ashamed that I used to like that movie a lot, and I don't know why.
I did. I mean, the first time I saw it, I thought it was stupid.
I've only seen it once, and I think I kind of liked it, but it's been so long I can't even remember. I'd probably hate it now.
Yeah.
What I don't like about it is Zach Braff is... He wrote, directed, stars in it. That's fine. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so... he wrote the character as being numb to any kind of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays the character as just this boring, bland person who... His definition of being numb to emotion is just not... Just to have a blank stare throughout every scene.
Yep.
And it's just like, come on, dude. Really?
It spawned a million movies just like that.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Like, wait, like what?
I don't know. I'm just like thinking in my head of all these characters that just stare.
Oh, yeah. The indie drama comedy kind of romance stuff, yeah.
Right.
And I feel like, Mike, I know that you like Happy Thank You, More Please, or whatever.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Because I feel like not Zach Braff, but Ted Mosby.
Josh Radnor.
Oh, man. Josh Radnor. I feel like he's kind of going the same route. He's made these two movies that are just really kind of just super... Douchey is the best way I can use to describe them. They're kind of pretentious.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally. That's the word.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's... I'm whatever. Yeah. And I still don't like Garden State. Or Josh Radnor's movies. I don't know. I don't know. Happy Thank You More Please was just bland, and his other movie where he... I don't know. It was weird. It was weird to me that this guy just took such a strong interest in this little kid, and it just seemed so struggling artist or some kind of depressive kind of guy kind of thing. I don't know. It was weird. It sucked. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that clip about Garden State. This next clip is from our episode 11, which was in August 23rd of last year. It's from our Elysium episode where we talked about like I Am Legend, and we had our Yahoo Answers segment where this is an interesting story behind this episode or behind this clip. We had a question on Yahoo Answers about what our preferred zombie weaponry would be, and of course, being a zombie nut as I am, I was very excited to talk to the guys about it. But in the process of editing the episode, I decided to cut it out to save it for Shocktober, because I knew that Mike was going to get married, and I knew that we were going to be crunched for time. So I wanted to save that for our Shocktober episodes, and namely our zombie episode, in which our friend Pat from the Nerds You're Looking For podcast came on. Unfortunately, in the process of switching out hard drives and backing up my files onto a hard drive and doing all this stuff, I lost the file completely. And I was convinced that it was destroyed, completely gone, never to be heard, until like months later, way after Shocktober ended, I found it just sitting in a folder. So I've kind of been holding it tight until we had a situation arise where I can plug it in, and this is that situation, guys. So without further ado, here's a little 5-minute segment about what the Obsessive Viewer guys will do, how they would handle the zombie apocalypse. So enjoy. The next question, kind of going off of this ridiculous line of things, or that whole thing about the motorcycles. Now I need to keep that in because, I was going to cut it out because it's so ridiculous. But what kind of weapons would be a good choice in a zombie apocalypse? Tiny, you mentioned that you are a gun nut, and I mentioned that I blink heavily at loud noises.
No guns. Attracts the horde.
That's true. Unless you have a silencer. But Tiny, I'll yield the floor to our resident gun nut.
I will say, if you're looking for a firearm, the best answer is, this is specific, a Ruger 1022 with a regular stock suppressed, because it's nice and quiet. It's a subsonic round, which means it doesn't break the sound barrier, so it's quieter. And you want the standard stock because it's much heftier and blunt, so you can use it as a blunt object when the zombies get too close. So yeah, that's why you want to go with a regular stock on a Ruger 1022. Okay. And it's also 22 rounds are very small and plentiful, and they're light, so you can carry around several hundred, if not thousands, of rounds of ammunition, and it's not very heavy. I was
going to mention that that's 22s are what Max Brooks endorses for the zombie apocalypse. Exactly. And there was a lot of dissent in the zombie community, I believe, zombie fan community, that they feel like that wouldn't be powerful enough to obliterate the brains of zombies, because obviously you have to shoot for the brain. I like that it's lightweight and everything. How in the Ruger 1020, whatever, that's a rifle, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay, how many rounds does it hold?
You can get a magazine that holds 50 rounds. The standard magazine holds 10, but you can get these very... I own one of these rifles, by the way.
Nice.
You can get a common magazine for it. You can get that holds 25 to 30 rounds. So
awesome. Okay, Mike, zombie apocalypse weapon.
I have a Louisville Slugger with my name on it, right next to my bed. I keep it next to my bed, and that's actually for intruders, but. It doesn't make a sound whenever you hit anybody over the head with it.
Well, do you know this from experience?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, no. the old Cillian Murphy.
That's right.
Thing from 20 Days Later.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe an axe would be even better.
You know,
probably be better.
Yeah, I think that would be a little heavy, but
you're right.
I would personally go with a machete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it can be lightweight. You can. It's not like a big sword that you need to learn very learn a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
In order to use it, you can teach yourself how to use it and all that, and then also you can use it to like clear brushes and stuff like that. I personally think a machete is a zombie survivalist's best friend.
Cool. I would say I agree with you guys that melee weapons should be the first go-to because they're quiet, but also you have the loss of range. You have to get right up next to it, get close to it.
You're right. That's true.
whereas with a gun you can keep your distance. But I will say that I think I wouldn't go with a machete per se. I would go with something that has a spike on it that can actually penetrate the skull and go into the brain, so you can do it in one swoop, just one shot straight to the head and move on, one shot straight to the head and move on, instead of having to like whack it 3-4 times. That's what she said. As you can tell, I've put a lot of thought into this.
Oh yeah, we've had discussions about this kind of
nights.
stuff. Oh
yes.
Yeah. That's interesting that you mentioned that about having to whack it 3 or 4 times. I feel like maybe I mean, machetes would be good for beheading, I guess, but I mean,
they're actually not. Have you ever used a machete?
Really? I haven't, because I'm a normal person.
I have.
No.
I've done
Really?
some brush clearing, and it's not as much of a fell swoop as you think to get through a spinal column, which I would assume is not quite as durable as like a tree branch.
Okay. Well, I mean, you also have to factor in. I mean, they're the Walking Dead. They're decayed.
True.
All
Very
that.
true. That's why a 22 round is powerful enough to get through the skull.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll upgrade to katana or something like that.
There you go.
All right, well, that does it for this week's episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Obsessive Viewer for me, at Obsessive Tiny for Tiny, and at I am Mike White for Mike. You can also follow our guest on Twitter. Our guest this week is Tank from the Title Pending Movie Podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Polish Phenom, with the O's in the handle being zeros instead of O's. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on or rate and review us on iTunes, subscribe to us everywhere. I just downloaded Pocket Cast, by the way, guys. This app is awesome. Not a plug or anything. They don't give me any money for it, but it's called Pocket Casts. It revolutionized the way that I switched between iTunes and my Android phone because my iPod messed up. So anyway, you can email us at ovpodcast@gmail.com. Anything you want, obviously. Interact with us. We love it. Next week is our pre-Oscars special episode, in which we have clips from several podcasts that have graciously submitted their time to recording their thoughts on specific nominees. So check that out. We have a bunch of cool podcasts submitting. We have our friends at the Nerds You're Looking For, our friends at Intermission Podcast, who they rigged themselves up to a shock collar, it's a super fun clip. We have Dento and the Robot, and of course we have local Indianapolis shows as well. The Chris Briggs Show and Movie Buzzed. They've also submitted clips. So, and we have many others. So it's going to be a really fun show, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys listen, and I hope you guys tell all your friends. And that about does it. I've recorded this like 3 times. I can't remember if I mentioned I was sick, but I'm sick, so I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here and pass out and hope no more fluids come out of me. So, all right. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening.